according to the polls, the majority of women between the age of 18 and 50 that predominantly prefer socialism, which I think that's a skewed poll. I think it's a little silly. I don't buy into it, but some do. When you see the millennials predominantly liking socialism and generally as a nation, us breaking that 50% threshold of people that believe in socialism over capitalism because they see the terrible rich people having things that they don't have sort of thoughts. We have to educate and we have to be aware of this movement because this is the Democratic Party. And think about the pendulum swinging so far that way that if you're trying to be the happy-go-lucky middle of the road, I don't have an opinion, I'm just the moderate in between there. Imagine the moderacy of what moderacy actually lands on in the middle of the road between extreme socialism and moderate socialism. I mean, that's really where we're at today, isn't it? Republican Party even votes predominantly for bigger government-funded projects. We think the government's still the answer. We still spend more than what we are bringing in as taxes. We're not cutting our spending. We're not reforming social programs. The Republican Party hasn't solved anything either. So now on the political spectrum, we're talking between Bernie Sanders, FDR, extreme progressive socialism, and moderate to light socialism, and then people that try to play the happy medium in between. And then when other people like legit conservatives say, wait a second, none of that's good, then we're just the crazy extremists on the fringe, right? I love that. But then you get someone like John Hickenlooper. And John Hickenlooper has come out and said, according to the Associated Press, that the Democrat Party needs to be chastised. He said that Sanders was wrong for calling policies such as Medicare for All that would dramatically increase public spending and government involvement in American lives. Hickenlooper called for less expansive changes to, quote, regulated capitalism that has guided this country for over 200 years. So he's a light, but still he thinks this is crazy. Quote, the Democratic field has not only failed to oppose Senator Sanders' agenda, but they've actually pushed to embrace it. Democrats must say loudly and clearly that we are not socialists. If we do not, we will end up helping to reelect the worst president in this country's history, meaning Donald Trump. Socialism is the most efficient attack line Republicans can use against Democrats as long as President Donald Trump is at the top of the ticket. It's a very bold statement to say he's a Democrat in today's times, and he's not going to unfortunately go anywhere. I would prefer to see more moderate Democrats like that because we could have reasonable conversation with individuals like that. I still wouldn't agree with him on many issues, but we could have a rational conversation. Because right now what we're getting is not rational conversation. We're getting either you believe in this or you hate the people it's supposed to help. And that's the argument we hear day in and day out, and it doesn't need to be that way. We should be able to have rational conversation with moderate individuals and be able to move forward with some type of dialogue. And John Hickenlooper, the fact that he's saying, wait a second, if we embrace socialism, Democrats will lose and Donald Trump will actually win the election. Again, I'm glad he's saying it. The question I have for you, though, is that do you like to see the Democrats eat their own and shoot themselves in the foot, or should we embrace someone like a John Hickenlooper? Not embrace as in like vote for them, but embrace the idea that there's still a few left in the Democrat Party that has somewhat of a reasonable conversation, that has somewhat of a reasonable idea and argument.